Welcome to the Tea Huddle with Marissa and Kelly.
Your only source for gridiron gossip. If you hate when your team is on a bye week,
or if you hate that the Eras Tour is over because that means there's no more Travis audience content,
then you have found yourself in the right place.
It was a great week of football. It was a great week of Taylor Swift shows, and they are now over. But the season is not over.
Yeah, we got plenty of football left.
Not plenty. Some.
There's a lot of football if you include the playoffs.
Oh, but like regular season is winding down.
Yeah, and fantasy is winding down.
Yes.
Only a few more weeks of that. How are you doing in your fantasy?
Well, in two of the leagues, I don't want to talk about it, but in one of the leagues, first place, enjoying a bye week this week.
Yeah, that's your big money league too.
Yes, it is.
That's impressive.
It has the most bragging rights on the line.
Yep, that's the one that counts.
I know how you're doing because we're in one together and you're in first place.
Yep, just chilling on my bye week.
Yeah.
And then in my big money one, it's a real tight match right now between me and Cheech.
Shout out to Cheech.
Yeah, Cheech, listen to the pod.
But real football, not just fantasy football. Another great week full of top stories, drama, heroes, villains.
Yeah, more villains. We got a villainous episode coming up.
Yeah. I'm going to get right to it.
Get to it.
So we've talked about Harrison Butker, the kicker for the Kansas City Chiefs before. He made headlines for his commencement speech at Benedictine College back in May, where he told all of the women in the audience that while they might be excited about graduating college that they worked so hard for 4 years and, should have been enjoying that moment, but that they're probably more excited about becoming wives and mothers, that he's sure about that. He told all of the men in the audience to fight against the cultural emasculation of men. He called Pride Month a deadly sin, et cetera, et cetera. But that's not what we're here to talk about this week.
Yeah, I wish I knew less about Harrison Butker, but here we are.
You're about to learn a little bit more.
Yeah.
So back in October of this year, he posted on Instagram endorsing Josh Hawley for another term as senator of Missouri. And in the same caption, he announced that he had created his own political action committee, or PAC as they're known, which raises money for some sort of political initiative. The caption read, "I'm also excited to announce the creation of the Upright PAC as a way to promote and encourage Christian voters to vote so that their voices are heard this November. To donate, click the link in bio." Well, people did click the link in bio. It came out this week that he raised $36,000 since then, and zero of those dollars, not one single dollar, has been spent towards the goal of promoting and encouraging Christian voters.
What happened there? What happened to the money?
And he said clearly in that caption that it was for the election in November. The election has come and gone. They spent, of the $36,000 that was raised, they spent $30,000. The Federal Election Commission, the FEC, posted itemized records of where all of the money went, and $109.74 went to office supplies, and all of the rest of it went to fundraising fees and merchant fees. So the money was just spent to figure out how to make more money.
Yeah, that's the math isn't mathing.
It would be one thing if they spent half of it towards the goal and the other half towards, fundraising consultants, but all of it, fundraising consultants, none of it towards the goal. And he himself did not donate any money towards the PAC. He just collected people's money. He's also the highest paid kicker in the league. So, before you decide that someone needs your money more than their own money towards furthering a mission that you believe in, it would be great to verify that that's where that money is going to go. Because in this instance, that is not where that money went.
And do we think, did he just pay himself as a fundraising consultant or just like pay his friends? Like it's obviously sketchy.
Yes.
He did not do what he said he was going to do. And it's murky and vague just saying he spent it on fundraising consultants. Like what even is that?
It's a great question. We're going to have to look into that.
We will definitely be following up with this. I hope that somebody gets to the bottom of this one.
Yes. Well, the Citizens for Ethics is a group that is on Twitter as @crew. And they are the ones who found the records of where the money went and that none of it went towards the goal. So they'll get to the bottom of it and we'll report back.
And moving on to our next villain, we haven't talked about the dirty hit on Trevor Lawrence that basically ended his season, but a linebacker on the Houston Texans, Azeez Al-Shaair, is certainly stepping into the role of villain. So much so that he tweeted, "If you want me to be your villain, I'll be your villain. Middle finger emoji. See you soon.
Wow.
Clown emoji."
Oh.
Along with some other pictures, one of them being the Joker. So I guess that's what his clown emoji is referencing, or I guess it's like a jester. So I guess he likes to be the Joker. But so to backtrack, Azeez Al-Shaair had a very late and aggressive and high hit on Trevor Lawrence as he was giving himself up. He was sliding, and when a quarterback slides, like the second they start the sliding motion, they are safe, and you're encouraged to not hit them because they don't get those yards once they start to go down. They're marked down right at that point. So in order to protect them, like that's why that's the rule. You don't get those yards after that slide. So he's like well into his sliding motion, and Al-Shaair just nails him, and he is clearly concussed. He did exactly what Tua did when Tua got hit with like the fencing motion, like where his left arm just juts out and he's clearly knocked out. Like he,
scary.
Yeah, no, it is scary. But there are rules in place to avoid this kind of thing, and this was a real blatant dirty hit. Some people have defended him, like, oh, how do you make such a split-second decision? But first of all, these are the best athletes in the world, and they're used to making split-second decisions, and he did have enough time to not hit Trevor Lawrence like this. I do think this could have been avoided. He was ejected from that game. He was suspended for 3 games. He appealed that suspension. NFL denied that appeal.
Wow.
It's even his coach was like, at the end of that game, was like, this isn't what we coach. Like, this is not representative of this team. So it was just a blatant dirty hit. And then when he was denied the appeal is when he tweeted, "If you want me to be your villain, I'll be your villain," with the middle finger emoji. So he's
leaning into it.
Yeah, he really is. It's important to note that he did apologize to Trevor Lawrence via social media.
What did he say?
It was like a long Notes app screenshot.
Mm-hmm. Classic.
Yeah.
Notes app apology. Maybe we need a whole segment about Notes app apologies.
Okay, yeah. Noted. This guy's a polarizing character. He's a complicated guy. So he's also been seeing a bunch of Islamophobia from fans. Even just reading the comments under his villain tweet, people are not being too cool to the guy.
Well, yeah, so I just did a little bit of like, what's this guy's backstory? He was born in Tampa, Florida, but he moved back and forth between Tampa and Saudi Arabia, where his father worked as an English teacher until his parents were divorced. And then he was primarily in Florida. He lived in Section 8 housing, but when his home burned down, he was homeless starting at his sophomore year of high school, and took a bus 2 hours each way to play football in high school.
Wow.
So obviously a tough upbringing. He's definitely faced a lot of adversity.
Yeah. In his villain tweet, he posted a few pictures. One of them was the Joker. The other was some words about relying on Allah for everything. And also he wears Free Palestine cleats, which I thought was interesting. I'm actually sort of surprised that the league hasn't kind of come down on him about that message.
Is it the like your cause, your cleats thing?
I suppose. I guess I'm surprised that they don't have like certain causes that get approved and certain ones that don't, just considering how polarizing and sensitive that subject is. Regardless, I support the guy for that. The lovely people in his Twitter comments certainly don't, but that's neither here nor there. But all of this doesn't erase his history of dirty playing. This guy,
let's go back to that.
Yeah, he has a bunch of late hits. on players who are out of bounds. He's been fined for a bunch of them, like $11,000 for like quarterbacks who run out of bounds, and they're like well out of bounds, like and he's coming in full speed and hitting them. He like basically strangled Tom Brady in Brady's last season.
Wow.
Like he sort of puts him in a chokehold, and then Brady goes up to the ref, and he's like trying to get the refs to call. He did not get called or fined for that.
I mean, here's the thing: is like football is so dangerous. You see people's seasons end every day, people's careers end all the time. Like, if that's a byproduct of just the way the game is played, then that's something that needs to be addressed, and things like guardian caps and these rules are different ways to sort of make it less dangerous for the players. But if it's just outright blatant late hits, rule violating, like on-field violence, then that's a villain.
Oh yeah, no, he definitely qualifies as a villain. In week 2 of this week, he punched a Bears player in the face.
You can't just be punching people in the face.
Yeah, I mean he's wearing his helmet, but like it's like a wind up punch in the face. And I don't think he even got fined for that one either.
Wow.
So yeah,
maybe some sort of an anger management situation might be advisable for Azeez.
Yeah, it does seem like he could benefit from something like that. I mean, he's getting fined left and right. He's getting ejected and suspended. Like,
it doesn't seem to be working.
Yeah, clearly. And he said, "I'll be your villain. See you soon." Like, he's gonna come back in week 18 and just
do the same.
Just start fucking shit up again.
All right, we'll see you soon.
I guess so. All right, for our first segment, you've seen Marissa's Minute. You've been to Kelly's Corner. So while I'm still hosting this show, I wanted a piece of the action. So welcome to Christian's Kitchen. Christian's Kitchen. So in Christian's Kitchen, we cook up some hot takes.
Very cute.
I'm gonna surprise some listeners here, and I'm gonna defend Daniel Jones.
Wow.
Yeah, we've
hot take in the kitchen.
The kitchen's getting hot. We've spent a lot of this season ragging on Daniel Jones. Danny Dimes has sort of been the brunt of a bunch of our conversations, the butt of a lot of jokes, and I think he's sort of getting a raw deal right now, including from the greatest football player of all time, Tom Brady, was sort of ragging on him for leaving the Giants. The Giants also kind of made it clear that they felt a certain way about it by making it known that they told him to stay home. They asked him to stay home. They wanted him to stay on the team, but he wasn't allowed to do anything. He wasn't even allowed to work out. There is a clause in Daniel Jones' contract with the Giants that would guarantee him $23 million in 2025 if he was unable to pass a physical in the offseason due to an injury sustained this season.
Wow.
So he wasn't allowed to work out with the team, he was hardly allowed to practice. He basically just didn't have a job. Yes, he was making a boatload of money, but he wasn't playing football because they just didn't want to be on the hook to pay him all of this money.
Saying they asked him to stay home reminds me of in Bridesmaids, when Rebel Wilson's character says, "We would like to invite you to no longer live with us."
Yeah.
They invited him to no longer join them for any sort of activity or exercise or game playing.
So, of course, the guy wanted to go.
Yeah. And he gets paid out anyway, right? Like, doesn't he get some amount of money for leaving? I don't know if that's true. I just always hear about, like, this coach is making X a day to do nothing because of all these like guaranteed contracts.
Yeah, I'm not sure about what his payout was when he left. I mean, the Giants are still on the hook for a bunch of money, but they really wanted to avoid that guaranteed $23 million. And Daniel Jones was also, like, everyone was ragging on him for playing safety in like the practice squad, and that was just he was playing safety in a walkthrough, like. Coaches play safety in walkthroughs.
Oh, I don't know what a walkthrough is.
It's exactly what it sounds like. It's a no contact, like slow walkthrough of a play. And so he was in the safety position for that walkthrough of that play, which was just it wasn't like a big demotion. People were making this big deal out of it, and it really sort of meant nothing. So I don't blame him for leaving. And he wanted to go to a playoff team, and he found one. He's with the Vikings now. The Vikings are now one game away from a playoff berth. If they win one single game for the rest of their season, they're making the playoffs, which they will because they're good. And they could even win the division. And like, there's a world where they're in the playoffs, Darnold goes down, and all of a sudden we have like a Nick Folk situation when he stepped in the Eagles and won a Super Bowl.
Mm-hmm.
He was the backup, and he ended up being a Super Bowl MVP.
Wow.
And it signed this huge
That's
contract
fun.
the next year. Yeah, it was really exciting. I mean, he beat the Patriots, so that sucked.
And it was sort of Brock Purdy's origin story too. It was like at the end of the season.
Yep.
They were like, I guess we got to let this guy play.
Exactly, Mr. Irrelevant.
Yeah, play against Tom Brady.
Yeah, he beat Tom Brady. That was crazy.
That was one of the things that was like, oh, maybe the stories are interesting enough that not knowing what's going on the field is irrelevant.
Yeah, no, yeah. Well, Mr. Irrelevant was
Yeah.
that story arc was what one of the things that really got you. So yeah, he does have like a potential future with the Vikings, and I think he just wanted to be on a good team for a change, even if he wasn't the starting quarterback. So good for you, Daniel Jones. I'm glad you left the Giants. Yeah, this is, even though this segment of Christian's Kitchen is in support of Daniel Jones, it is not in support of the Giants. This is just one of the many examples of the Giants being a sham at the moment. Sorry, Giants fans. In our next segment, Love is in the Air. We've done this segment before this season. It's a favorite. Welcome to the segment of love. Segment of love. Marissa, what's our first love story?
Okay, we've got a few love stories. One was our top story last week, but we have some additional details about Josh Allen's proposal to Haley Steinfeld from her lifestyle blog, Beau Society. She posted a questionnaire between her and Josh where they're giving all sorts of insights into how the big proposal all went down. So she asks him in the questionnaire, what was the last fun thing you did? And he says, I got on a knee for my girlfriend, who is now my fiance.
Aw.
Super cute. She said, what is the funniest / craziest thing that happened on the day we got engaged? He says, the funniest thing was that we woke up and we were getting ready for brunch and you jumped on the bed and said, can we get married already? What are you waiting for? I replied, just give me a little more time. Little did you know I was about to propose to you.
I mean, that's pretty adorable.
Yeah.
But like, imagine if she was like really mean about it, if she got all like actually pissed.
Or if he was like, I'm not ready. How many times do I have to tell you? Like, you're putting pressure on me, and when I'm ready, I'll do it. Like jumping on the bed, going, marry me already. But it's cute because he already had the ring and already had the plans.
Yeah, sort of perfect timing. Like she just walked right into that.
Yeah. She asks, how nervous were you on that day? You seemed so chill. He says, I was very nervous. I think I was most nervous about you finding out about the proposal. It was hard to keep secrets from you and have other people in your life keep secrets from you. Then multiple times throughout the day, a song would come on and I would tear up thinking about how special our day was going to be.
Wow.
I know.
Who knew he was such a romantic?
He's such a mush. And then she says, okay, crying again. Do you remember what you said and when you were down on one knee, or did you black out too? He said, no. I said, I couldn't wait any longer. I said, I can't wait to start a family with you. I said your full name, and I asked you very nicely. I said, please. He then goes on to say he felt really relieved after, that he was so relieved that he didn't blow the surprise. Nobody else blew the surprise, and that the sun was out. I guess that was all part of the plan. And then he says, it feels unbelievable to be engaged to someone who is so special and loving and caring and gorgeous and fun and happy. He says, I can keep going if you want me to keep going. And she closes out by saying, for the sake of our readers, I'll cut you off. However, I love you.
Wow.
So they're just a couple cutie patooties.
Definitely. I'm surprised we haven't seen more like WAG content of her, like in booths and at games, and she doesn't seem to be like in the forefront and like in the spotlight like some of these WAGs.
Yeah, it's interesting because she is at a lot of the games. You get like one picture every now and then of her just like leaning over through a box taking a picture with somebody. I mean, she's obviously not anywhere near as famous as Taylor Swift. Nobody on the planet is as famous as Taylor Swift.
Yeah,
except like Mickey Mouse and
yeah,
maybe Kim Kardashian, but like not even that anymore. So I guess she's able to just be sort of more under the radar. But it does seem like she's at games. She's with his family. She's hanging with other Bill's ladies, and now we know that they are just like the cutest, most in love people around.
Yeah, well, good for them.
Yeah. Okay, Christian, you take it from here. What's the next love update?
So this relationship is obviously equally as romantic and
Heartfelt.
yeah, it's really just a beautiful relationship. Bill Belichick and his 24-year-old girlfriend Jordan Hudson. I mean, they really seem to be going strong. Have you seen them in pictures? They are smiling. They are so happy with each other.
And he's not a smiley guy.
No, he's not. I think he's like the happiest he's ever been right now. And so they just went to the museum gala at the American Museum of Natural History in New York City. They hit the red carpet.
I think this was their red carpet debut.
Of the two of them?
Yeah.
I suppose it was. And again, all smiles. Belichick in a tux. That was funny to see. And she was wearing this like big, elegant black dress.
Mm-hmm. My favorite fun fact about them that I can't help but interject with is she is closer in age to his eldest grandchild than she is to her boyfriend. But age ain't nothing but a number, you know? They're happy, so. And I'm happy for them.
Yeah. Apparently she was seen rubbing his back as they were in line to get food at the gala, according to TMZ.
Sweet.
Yeah, and they had their Halloween costume he was like a fisherman and she was a mermaid.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's probably like going to frat parties and stuff now with her. It's a little creepy and it's easy to make fun of, but it's again, they both seem extremely happy, so it's pretty hard to argue with that.
Yeah, it's legal. They're both, she's of age and we love, so have at it.
Go for it, you guys.
This last one isn't as lovey-dovey as the previous two, but it is an update to a relationship that we haven't known a ton about.
Yeah, this might qualify to go into a segment called Segment of Hate, but we don't have that segment. We're in the segment of love.
Yeah.
It's about following up on an old relationship.
Yeah,
so
love and hate, it's a fine line.
Yeah, so what do you got?
So Shailene Woodley peeled back the curtain on her past relationship with Aaron Rodgers just a little bit this week in a profile she did with Outside Magazine. I feel a little bit bad for her because this was a whole thing about like go camping with Shailene Woodley, and she talked all about how much she cares about the environment and like what she would take camping, and she talked a little bit about her ex-boyfriend, and of course that's what got picked up everywhere. Like nobody cares about if she prefers a tent or an RV. People care about
the juicy stuff with Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah,
I mean that's what we care about. That's what we're reporting on right now.
Definitely. So she said, I haven't shared much about my relationship with Aaron because it always makes me cry. It was not right, but it was beautiful, she said. And then she doesn't explicitly state that she's talking about Aaron Rodgers in these next quotes, but she said, I had a really awful traumatic thing happen in early 2022, and then our commentary on the side is that they called off their engagement in February, so early February 22. She said, I felt like I lost my soul, myself, my happiness, my joy. I really understood depression and anxiety and like complete soul detachment. She says that she chose to remain in a toxic situation because she was empathizing with someone. Empathy, she says, kind of kept me in this loop of feeling everything for everyone. I knew I was depressed when I looked at a tree and I felt nothing. That was the lowest low of my life. Yeah,
wow. And this is all in reference to him, to the way that he treated her?
It's in reference to a traumatic event from early 2022.
Yeah.
But she says, I stayed with someone because of empathy. The only thing that she explicitly says in the profile about her relationship with Aaron, it always makes me cry. It was not right, but it was beautiful.
Yeah, this
so
sounds...
it sort of sounds like all the rest of it was about what happened in 2020, when they called off their engagement.
Yeah.
She says that her stylist, who's one of her best friends, helped get her out of the depression. She would like come over and wake her up every single day and play music and be like, we're going to go surf and we're going to go volunteer and we're going to go hike. And that little by little, she started feeling like herself again.
Yeah, well, props to that stylist. That sounds really nice. Sounds more like a friend than somebody that you employ.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, Rogers is obviously a complicated and polarizing guy. Even just the way that he talks to the press, you can see that he is probably the most manipulative person that you could ever meet. I feel like being in a relationship with that man would be
tough.
Yeah, I can't imagine.
But we'll get a little more insight on Aaron Rodgers' enigma.
Yeah, coming out next week.
I am excited.
Yeah, so am I. Again, I'm worried that it's going to be sort of a fluff piece if he like had any like control of it.
Yeah.
I mean, because he is good at manipulating the media and the perception of himself.
And manipulating Shailene Woodley, it sounds like.
Yeah, clearly.
Allegedly.
And that brings us to the final goss.
Final goss.
What do you have for us, Marissa?
So this one is sort of continuing on our love updates from the segment. It seems like Stefon Diggs might be dating rapper Young Miami.
Stefon Diggs has a real habit of finding his way into our final goss.
He does. And actually, I feel like, yeah, I'll get it. You're right. He does. Young Miami is one half of the rap duo City Girls. She was in a relationship with Diddy from 2021 to 2023, which, now has all sorts of implications.
Yeah, yikes.
She has been accused of transporting drugs for him, accepting prostitution payments from him, and harassing alleged victims of his. Again, all rumored, alleged. But now she's also rumored to have a new man in her life, Stefon Diggs. So Stefon turned 31 earlier this week and celebrated his birthday at Carbone in Miami, where Young Miami was also seen. She posted birthday decorations, like tons of balloons, a big 31 lit up, and then quickly deleted the post when all of her comments were like, "You're with Stefon Diggs." And then she tweeted, "I can't fall in love with no hoe. Young, rich, outside, and single," with 5 exclamation points.
Okay.
But what I was going to say, so like just reading about the fact that she was so close with Diddy for so many years, and now we know that is like the darkest underbelly of the industry that there is, and that now Stefon Diggs is involved with her. Between him and his brother, it does seem like they are just getting involved in like with unsavory characters, they just seem like they're getting mixed up in the wrong.
Yeah, I think they have bad judgment. And,
Yeah.
and are bad judges of character. It seems like they live like pretty messy lives.
Yes. With violence and controversy around some of the corners that they turned. So
Definitely.
When you said that he keeps finding his way into our final goss, like it's because he seems to live a messy life.
Yeah. And yeah, one that like might border on the unsavory and unethical and probably illegal.
Yeah. So, if we get confirmation that they're together, we'll be sure to relay that. If we get confirmation that they're not together, you'll hear about that as well.
Yeah, things like with Diggs seem to also go like unfinished, or they just have like an ellipsis at the end. Like you don't really know exactly what happened.
Yeah.
That's happened a couple times.
He was maybe with Cardi B for a while, allegedly. He was like connected to a bunch of different people. There's rumors out there that he's just like very involved in, I think, the hip hop community, like with a lot of their girlfriends and wives.
Yeah. Seems like he's pissing off a lot of people.
Yeah.
All right, well, that's it for this episode of the Tea Huddle. It might be my last episode, but we can't wait to have Kelly back.
Yeah, we miss you, Kelly. We are excited for your return. Thank you again, producer Christian, for stepping in this week.
It's been my pleasure.
Everybody, please find us on Instagram, TikTok, Twitter, and tune in next Thursday for an all-new episode of the Tea Huddle.
And until then, stay juicy.